You're watching Ride Like a Local with Belt Drive Betty. Welcome to Season 4. This week, I'm in Jasper, Alberta with the Military Police National Motorcycle Relay Ride for Blind Children. We're outside of the Legion in Jasper, Alberta, being joined by two real trekkers from the Military Police National Relay Motorcycle Ride. Bob, you are the national chair.
I am.
And you guys went on quite the journey before you actually made it here to Jasper, so let's talk about that for a minute.
I retired in May after 35 plus years in the Canadian Forces, and I thought there was no better time if we were going to go across Canada again with the Military Police National Motorcycle Relay that we should throw in the four-corner ride. So we left Cape Breton, Nova Scotia on the 30th of June, and we headed down to Florida. Jacksonville, Florida was corner number one, went across the Gulf States through all that heat and humidity and the whole works. Arizona just about killed us, but we got to San Diego, corner number two, came up the beautiful California and Oregon and Washington coasts, and went into Victoria, BC, corner number three. And now the MP National Motorcycle Relay will take us home to Atlantic Canada for corner number 4.
Now, Norma, tell me a little bit about your motorcycle and how you've fared compared to the comfort and luxury hubby has.
I fared very well, actually. My motorcycle is an 09 Deluxe Harley Davidson Softail. It's the most comfortable bike I've ever ridden, and I don't need any luxuries. I don't use the radio. I have a fairing on it just to keep the wind off of me, but other than that, it's I don't need all of the bells and whistles.
She doesn't even have a throttle boss on there.
No.
She's full hand on the throttle at all times. She won't let me put a throttle lock on it, a cruise control, a throttle boss or anything. So I have a lot of respect for that.
Well, right on, girl. So what did you think of your four-corner ride?
Oh, it was awesome. We got to see all kinds of the country. North America is a beautiful country, and everything just changes from one state to another state to one province to another province. It seems it's a different country every time you go through it. So it was a great experience.
And is this your first trip right across Canada?
No, it's my second.
And did you do that other one on a motorcycle as well?
On that one, actually, I did it in 2010.
Norma's the only female that's done the entire MP National Motorcycle Relay coast to coast so far. So we encourage all female motorcyclists out there, get on a bike, come join us. You don't have to be military, don't have to be retired military. We want bikers to ride across the country with us.
Two Hills, Alberta, winner of the inaugural Canada's Most Rider-Friendly Community Contest. Home to the Run to the Hills Memorial Rally and Wayside Fallen Riders Park. Two Hills, Alberta, Canada's most rider-friendly community. Now there's 4 of you that are doing the full national ride, correct?
That's correct. This year we have 4, and it normally varies. Year number 1, there was 2 of us that did the whole country. We didn't know what we were doing. We never built in a rest day, a maintenance day, anything. Year number 2, we learned from that, of course, built in a couple of rest days, and we had 6 motorcycles and 7 bikers. Yes. Betty was 2 up with Andy.
Right.
And so we had a little bit larger contingent in year 2, but it's difficult because people need that 3 weeks of vacation or time to do the whole country. Plus they've got to get out there with their motorcycle, whether that gets shipped by CN as we've done many years, but you still have to fly out, you have to do without your motorcycle. So it's quite a commitment, there's no doubt about that. I think the best way to do it is to ride both ways, but that takes a lot of time, and it's not cheap nowadays with the price of gas and hotel rooms and meals.
But this ride isn't about the military. This ride is about blind children. So let's talk a little bit about the cause, the history, and how much money you guys have actually raised for the different supports and tools you provide.
Certainly. In 2009, the intention was to have a cross-country ride and to pass a baton of whatever variety. We chose a teddy bear. It was great. It appealed to children. It kind of took the edge off the whole biker thing. And we passed a teddy bear across the country from province to province. And we've continued with that tradition, but each year we've looked at charities, and we've supported the Wounded Warriors Fund, the Military Families Fund, Children's Wish, and our main charity is the MP Fund for Blind Children. That only makes sense. It was started by MPs, this entire ride. It's almost entirely administered by MPs, although we have a petty officer in the Navy that's looking at being next year's chairman, and we fully encourage that. But our charity has been around since the late 50s. Colonel Jim Stone started it. He had a blind child who ended up in a medical facility, and some of her, the kids that she was there with, never had the support that Jim was able to give to his daughter Plumsy. And he would go there, and she would feel bad because the kids didn't have the extras, like a little bit of candy from the candy shop or what have you. So he encouraged all military police to give $1 a year to blind children. It's grown from that. Last year, we raised $129,000 in 1 year of this ride. That was exceptional, I thought, because prior to that, in year one, we'd raised $25,000. We thought that was a ton of money. But to grow it to the point where it's over $100,000, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. The important thing about our charity is it's all volunteers that administer it. Every dollar that people give to that charity goes to the kids for Braille machines, iPads, space camp, you name it, that we support. Now, we don't send kids to Florida for Walt Disney World. There's other people like Children's Wish that do that very well. We support the kids if they need a certain type of vision correction as far as optical devices and that kind of thing. This year, the fund will give $250,000 to blind children to support them across the country. And the ride, obviously, is a big part of that. And our only expense, and it's a mandated expense, a charity has to have the books looked at each year. So obviously we have an accountant come in, that comes off the top. But other than that, all of our riders, by the way, pay their own expenses. That's the beauty of the Royal Canadian Legion and the CF bases supporting us by providing, the Legions provide us with a lot of free food for lunches and suppers like we'll have tonight here in Jasper. But the bases also allow us to sleep in quarters for $10 a night, or maybe even crash on an armory floor or a gym floor, and we're happy to do that. We'll set up our own cots, and as long as we have a shower in the morning and flush toilets, we're happy. We're low maintenance.
Is there a place they can donate online? How could they support you if what they hear here moves them?
Okay, so a couple of messages, I think, Betty, that I'd like to get out. Number one is the charity supports blind children no matter, they don't have to have a military affiliation whatsoever. So that's important to get across, because a name like the Military Police Fund for Blind Children, people say, well, is it for military kids, for military police kids? How does it work? It's for any blind child, age 22 or under, and anywhere in Canada. So you can go to the MP Fund for Blind Children. They have a website. They have a Donate Now icon there that you can click on. It goes through Canada Helps. People get a receipt right away. A lot of people like that.
You are the only female rider that's done this ride nationally. You know, what could another female rider expect?
There are very long days. You don't have to worry. You can't worry about what your hair looks like. Forget about any makeup because you really don't have time for that in the mornings. You have to realize that you're on a schedule, and the schedule is pretty rigid because you have to meet certain times along the way because of the legions and because of different charities or different people that were meeting up to give to our charity, and so your time is, you have to move now. So that's the only thing that you have to realize, even if you're a male or a female, that you have a time schedule, and you can't just go, oh yeah, well, we'll get up whenever. You can't. You're on a schedule.
So everybody is an equal out there. It's just rider to rider. There's no need for a female rider to feel uncomfortable and not want to come on this. If experiencing Canada is something that you want to do, and you'd like to tie that to doing good work, the Military Police National Motorcycle Relay Ride for Blind Children, you got to come experience it. You've got to meet these people. It is truly an amazing event.
We want you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's a pleasure. Let me squeeze another hug.
It was awesome. Thank you. Moncton, New Brunswick, home of Atlanticade Motorcycle Festival and runner-up community in the inaugural Canada's Most Rider-Friendly Community Contest, sponsored by Community Futures of Alberta. Thinking of starting a new business? Expanding an existing one? What could you do if you had a team? We'll meet your new team.
Hi, I'm Holly Sorgen. I'm the Executive Director. My name is Wanda Shepard. I work in administration.
My name is Sherry Breen. I am the controller.
My name is Leah Holler. I work with Community Futures.
This is Shane Wallace. I'm the contract business analyst.
My name is Janine Harder.
Community Futures, growing communities, one idea at a time. I'm in the beautiful community of Jasper, Alberta. I'm attending the Military Police National Relay Ride, and I'm being joined by Randy Roach, one of the gentlemen who has decided to support the cause this year. Randy, why did you decide to get on board with the relay ride?
Well, I joined a few years ago. I joined the UN NATO group, and there's a few military policemen in that organization, and I was a civilian policeman, and we started talking about this relay. So last year was my first run, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I had a wonderful time, and so I thought, well, I'm going to do that again this year.
Now, for my audience that isn't aware of what the Military Police National Relay Ride, motorcycle ride is all about, tell them a little bit about what the money raised from this event goes to.
Well, I'm not the best person to be talking about that. There's others that can give you more specific details, but I know it goes for blind children. It's a very worthy cause, and I've heard about it in the past, but certainly never thought in my life that I would ever participate in it. But I am, and it's a wonderful cause, and anything that helps children. I mean, I'm also a Mason, so I support the Shriners and the Shriners hospitals and things like that. So this is a great cause as well.
Now, where did you join the ride from, and how far are you going?
I joined the ride, as I did last year, from Edmonton, and we rode here with a group of other gentlemen from the garrison, and then we're going back. My leg is just the one leg, so I'll be going back from Jasper here to Edmonton.
Are you going to be attending the event in Cold Lake?
No, I won't be making that event. My birthday runs into that. It's unfortunate.
Oh, we have a birthday boy. I guess that means a kiss. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Now, what has been the most rewarding part of being part of this national ride?
Oh, being with the guys and with the people. It's phenomenal just to sit down, to ride, to brothers and sisters at arms. It's just a wonderful outing. It's something anybody should do it.
I agree. I think that it would do a lot for civilians to get more involved in this particular ride and come out and support these boys and girls, because not only are they helping children who have sight issues, but it is a wonderful way to really get to know each other and form lifelong friendships.
Exactly. No, I totally, wholeheartedly agree with you on that.
So what's a Nova Scotia boy like you doing all the way out here?
When I joined the military, I went through the Military Police Academy, and my old man was still the IC, the acting Naval Provost Marshal Atlantic, and I wanted to be pretty much as far away from my old man's shadow as I possibly could. So I got posted out to Esquimalt and just fell in love with Victoria. So we bounced around from here, we're in Jasper, from Victoria to Nanaimo to Edmonton up to Yellowknife, and then thankfully back to Victoria.
What does this ride mean to you?
Well, it's a couple of different things. I mean, it's kind of a family legacy. What with my father being one of the original kind of plank owners, I guess you could refer to him as, and also it's a fantastic fundraiser. It's the biggest fundraiser we have for the Military Police Fund for Blind Children. So it's important, and it's also a very personal thing, you know.
Not very many people can say that, you know, I wanted to get out from under Dad's shadow a little bit, and yet I want to stay connected to Dad in this charity. It's got to be a little bit of a unique situation, because I understand that next year you might be the BC chair. Am I understanding that properly?
Yeah, I'm actually the BC chair this year as well.
Okay.
Tony Brooks is the BC ride captain, so he organized pretty much everything outside of Victoria proper. But the stuff within Victoria, I took care of. So the photo op at the legislature, things like that. So it's going to be a little bit more on my plate next year because Tony's getting posted to Ottawa. So the plan is right now that I'll carry on as the chair again, and hopefully everything will go smoothly.
Now you're heading all the way up to Cold Lake?
No, I'm going to be done this leg in Jasper this year. My previous ride with my wife on the back of a little V-Star 650, we rolled all the way out to Cold Lake and then back to Victoria. But this year with the little guy in tow, we've got our 4-year-old in the support vehicle. We're just going to keep it a BC ride this year.
Oh, BC rides, you know, I mean, there's not much better riding than BC and the Alberta mountains.
Certainly not. Coming up Duffy Lake Road on the bikes with my dad running lead and Mom running tail gunner. That was pretty cool. That was a really good ride, so a lot of fun.
And, you know, a family that rides together stays together, and everybody that joins this ride seems to become family.
Absolutely. The camaraderie is pretty much instant. As soon as you meet up, when we met up in Victoria, most people had never met together. You know, they might have crossed paths once or twice, but everybody's been fantastic, and everybody just really gets along well because we all know what it's for, you know, and it really makes a difference, I think.
Disadvantaged children of any kind, but when you're blind and you have that sense completely taken away from you, to have people reach out and support you, I can't imagine. I'm a mom. If my child was that way, I don't know how moved I'd be, but it would be amazing, I would think.
Yeah, the response that we get from the families, when I was working in a different position in Esquimalt, I worked very closely with the Blind Fund rep for the unit, and she would get calls from parents all the time, just you know, thanking her and thanking the unit for the work that we do, and you know, the branch in general. So it's always a very emotional thing, obviously, because like you say, it's little kids that they have quite a hurdle to get over, and we just do what little we can to help that.
What is one thing you would like my audience to know about the Military Police National Motorcycle Relay Ride?
Well, you know, the one thing, I guess, would be that it's not just about the military, you know. It's the Military Police National Motorcycle Relay Ride and the Military Police Fund for Blind Children. But the vast majority of the kids that take advantage of the program, that benefit from the program, have nothing to do with the military. You know, the vast majority of the families have never had a family member in the military. You know, so although it's, you know, the big military word is out there all the time, anybody in the community that has this situation with a child with vision difficulties, they can apply and they can get support. So.
And the website for them to be able to find out more?
If you just do a Google search for the Military Police Fund for Blind Children, I don't know the exact web address off the top of my head, or if you go to mpnmrr.ca, there's a link to the charity's website as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Owen, for taking a little time with me, and thank you for what you're doing for these children.
It's my absolute pleasure.
Okay. Wayne, you're one of the national riders on the National Military Police Relay Ride. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to go right across the country.
Interesting question. I've been involved in the ride now for 7 years. This is, I wouldn't say my first year. I tried to ride a bike 4 or 5 years ago, but unfortunately I had a little accident in Quebec and wrote my bike off. But no, this year BRP, who's one of our national sponsors, gave us a spider to ride across Canada. So I said, pick me. I volunteered to ride, so BRP gave me a spider right out of the box, and I started in Ottawa, and I've ridden out to Victoria, and I'm going to we headed off a couple days ago, and we're heading for Gander, Newfoundland, and then back to Ontario. So it'll be 15,000 kilometers by the time I finish.
I've done a very similar trip to that one, and yeah, there's nothing finer, is there?
No, there's nothing finer, and I can't say enough about BC and the way that Spider handles through the mountains. It's second to none. I can even keep up with these Hondas and Harley Davidsons. But beautiful BC, and I can understand why people want to live back in Ontario. They should be out here living.
Yes, and here we are in the beautiful town of Jasper, Alberta, where a whole group from all across the country have converged to head into Cold Lake for the big event this weekend. And then from there, the ride takes off in through Saskatchewan. Now, what is the itinerary like for you guys?
Well, as you said, we are in Jasper today. Tomorrow we're in Edmonton at the Canadian Tire Centre up north, Edmonton. Then we're off to Cold Lake. We spend a day in Cold Lake, and then we're off to Dunduran, Shiloh, and we're into Winnipeg at Henning Motorcycles.
Yep.
Then we're off to Kenora. We'll stay at the Armories there. Then off to Thunder Bay in the Armories. Then Sault Ste. Marie in the Armories. Then we're off to CFB Borden. We get to bunk in on a bed, hopefully, and then off to Toronto, Trenton in the military there. We get a base there. We get a bunk bed there too, and then we're off to Kingston. Ottawa, we get to stay at the Canadian Police College.
Oh, that's nice.
And that'd be very nice. It's free. Thank you very much to the RCMP. That's where the horse stables is, by the way. And then we're off to Valcartier, and we have quarters there. And then we're off to Gagetown, Summerside, and then we're off to Halifax, and then end up in Gander, Newfoundland on the 23rd of August.
Now, every year the military police raise money for blind children. Can you shed a little light on what kinds of things does the military police purchase for these young people?
Okay, the Military Police Fund, it was started by Colonel Stone back in the 60s, and it's the only official charity that's sanctioned by the Canadian Forces. Last year we raised $129,000, the ride did. And it's given to not just the military kids, it's given to the blind kids of Canada. We've sponsored the NASA Space King for kids, where they actually shut down the Space Center for a whole week, and they send blind kids there to go through the space program. And they buy equipment. They just give $100,000 to CHEO in Ottawa to buy special equipment for legally blind children. I can't remember what the exact equipment was. But every year, and it's all done by volunteers in the military police branch, both retired and military. So it's, like I said, Colonel Stone started it many years ago, and over the years we've raised millions of dollars for that purpose.
Whose brainchild was it to actually start the motorcycle relay ride?
It was Mark Fair 7 years ago. He had a bit of a dream, and he started, and actually called me in June and said, I got a problem. I got nobody to look after Ontario. Can you help me out? So I did, and I've been involved ever since. But Mark Fair is the one that started all this.
Well, hats off to Mark Fair, because it's a great way for people to become lifelong friends and to really get a sense of camaraderie. There's nothing like being on the road with a group of people for, 40, 45 days, and you get to know them very well.
Yeah, you get to know a lot of people, and it's interesting. You meet people that you didn't know, friends of friends and acquaintances and stuff. In fact, the other night I met somebody in the Kamloops and Legion. He's an old vet and served during the war, and he served with one of my very best old buddies who's 85 years old, who lives back in Ottawa, and we met just through the ride.
There's all kinds of little stories like that, and I'm sure that as you guys progress across the country, there will be many more. How many of you are doing the entire national ride?
There's 4 of us going coast to coast with a support vehicle. There's a husband and wife supporting us in their van.
Well, I'm going to be eagerly following you guys as you make your trek across Canada, and hopefully we'll get a chance to check in with you guys via telephone once you hit Gander.
That'll be great. Look forward to it.
Okay, well, thank you, and raise lots of money.
We'll do our best.
All right.
The Sports Camera Store in West Edmonton Mall is your one-stop shop for drift and GoPro action cameras. We carry Canada's largest selection of action cam accessories, along with video sunglasses, hidden and surveillance cameras, and more. Visit www.sportscamerastore.com or stop into our West Edmonton Mall location, lower level by the bay.
My name is Janine Harder. I am the Business Accounts Officer with Community Futures. I've been here for 2 years and I really enjoy the job that I do. I am also a mom of 2 children, and my husband works as a mechanic in Grand Prairie as well. What do I enjoy most about my job? I guess I would have to say that I enjoy the people that I work with and the atmosphere at Community Futures. I'm comfortable with everybody that I work with, and we really hit it off on a daily basis. I enjoy coming to work every day that I can. What piece of advice would I give to a young person? I guess I would say save for a rainy day. This time right now, I guess everybody is struggling to make ends meet, and I guess that's my biggest piece of advice, is to always save for a rainy day. What inspires me? I'd have to say that my kids inspire me. Their kind hearts and their willingness to show affection on a daily basis is big in my world. So what is my favorite pastime? I'd have to say that my favorite pastime has always been fitness. I enjoy to work out. I do every day, and yeah, that's it. My favorite quote, I'd have to say that this is something that I've heard my entire life. It's a quote that my dad has always, I guess, instilled in our lives, and it's, money isn't everything, but you've got to have it.
I'm being joined right now by Tony Brooks, who is the gentleman who invited me again this year to the Military Police National Motorcycle Relay Ride for Blind Children. Tony, what sense of satisfaction are you getting from being on this ride this year?
Well, I got to tell you, being here in Jasper tonight, I said to my wife just a few moments ago, I got the National Riders to Jasper. My job is done. It's time to relax, and it's good that it's done, and I feel great that it's done, and you know, that's it really. I mean, just getting it done.
Now, you guys have 4 riders this year who are going all the way from Victoria to Newfoundland, and you have a whole host of events right across the country for these people. Let's talk a little bit about the organization of the Military Police Relay Ride.
Well, that organization, there's so many details and so many people involved. I only dealt with BC, so I've dealt with about a dozen legions, about half a dozen hotels, events along the way, including stops, photo ops. We're stopping at a brewery. We're stopping, as I said, all the legions and everything. So there's hundreds of hours that go into just making sure that, you know, when I show up at 10:15 somewhere, that everything's in place for us when we get there. A lot of guys say, "Hey Tony, come on over, have a beer, or you know, have a coffee," and I go, "I can't, guys. I'm on the phone right now with this legion or that hotel." Right up to the day before we arrive, little things are changing. So yeah, it's a lot of details. Fortunately, I only have to handle BC. Thank goodness we've got people handling Alberta, Ontario, Nova Scotia, all the way across.
Now, as the other people I have interviewed have explained, the Military Police Fund for Blind Children really impacts all Canadian children who have vision issues.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The only criteria in order to be a beneficiary of the Military Police Fund for Blind Children is you have to be 21 or under, and you have to be visually impaired. You don't have to be a member of a military police family. You don't have to be a member of a military family. Anybody, doesn't matter who you are. This is about young adults with vision impairment. It's got nothing to do with the military or the military police.
Now, I found it very interesting to find out the history of the ride and how it started, all because one gentleman's little girl was visually impaired and her friends weren't getting the same support.
That's right.
So, are you a father?
I am. I've got a 20-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old stepson. I'm really fortunate. Both of my kids are healthy, happy, 10 fingers, 10 toes. But when you see another parent, and you understand what it is to be a parent, and you know, whether it's a vision impairment, a physical impairment, a mental impairment, you can't imagine what those parents have got to be going through every day. And so, even though I've never personally been impacted by something like this, I'd like to help. I'd like to think that I've helped somebody else try and deal with a huge struggle. I do a little bit of work with the Children's Wish Foundation as well, and we were getting something together a couple of months ago for a little boy, and he didn't actually live long enough for us to deliver the wish. And then afterwards, it's like, well, we had all this stuff that we wanted to give to the parents. And it was like, well, let's just wait a while because we could not imagine what they're going through. And that's why I think people like myself and like all of the guys in that Legion right now are doing what we're doing.
And I think it's important when you are in service to others, not only does your life become richer, but what does that say for humanity? You know, it's an important thing to give back, to pay it forward. When you're blessed and you're fortunate, I think that's the only way to be.
Absolutely. You know, I was reading a speech by Arnold Schwarzenegger, of all people, a few months ago. And it was a speech to a university graduating class. And he had six steps to success. And the sixth one was give something back. And that says it all. I mean, you have to. Again, we are so fortunate. Wouldn't it be just criminal if we didn't help out somebody else who isn't as fortunate as we are? Well, I do want to say that having somebody like yourself step into this, it just gives us that much more visibility. It's really great that you're helping us out. And if it wasn't for people like you, and I say this to all the Legions I go to, without you, we simply couldn't do what we do. So thank you so much.
It's my honor.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
And that's our show for this week, folks. Join us next time when we're in Calgary for the 12-stop Fresh Start Ride for Recovery.